All right. Welcome everyone again to another second episode of WMMA Scene Report. As I was saying last week, we're going to try to make this an every week thing. I haven't decided a final time and date yet. I'm thinking after, I scheduled this for 10:15, not realizing that, my personal favorite show to watch on YouTube, the MMA Holes, does a 2-hour show on Wednesday. I was thinking their show was only 1 hour. So we'll decide. I'm thinking Tuesday now though. Sorry it's a bit late. I was trying to use my PC. I found out now I can use my webcam to stream directly onto YouTube now. So I was gonna try to use that, and that didn't work out at all. So now here I am using my iPad at a stupid weird angle again. So anyway, we got a lot to go over tonight. A lot of fight reviews. We have, or not necessarily reviews, fight results. A couple of new fight announcements. And then we're going to have 2 to 3 discussion topics tonight. Definitely 2, 3 if we get time. So first up we're going to go over some fight results from this past weekend. Let me move it back over to my main screen here. So FCF 56 had pretty much it was an all women's MMA event. Mostly amateur, 5 amateur with 4 pro fights. We'll go with the ones that started out first. All of them on the main card. 135 bantamweight. We had Caitlin Neal came in at 1-3, facing Candice Miracle at 1-2. From what I understand, this is maybe a split decision. Let me see if I can find out on Wombat Sports. Wombat. He hasn't updated either. Let me see. Maybe he has. Otherwise, I'm going to have to limit this to just the fights that I definitely know the results on. Okay, so nothing that I can find has been updated. So the one fight I do know is that from FCF 56. Caitlin Neal beat Candice Miracle at 135. And there was some controversy in this fight. To start off round 2, Miracle was still turned around to the cage, talking to her cornermen who were outside the cage, still up on, the apron there. And the ref, I don't know if there was a bell that rang, but the ref definitely said fight. Neal looked at the ref, who I guess signaled the okay. Miracle was still turned around. Caitlin started walking up, ran up, and waited for Miracle to start turning around and threw a high kick to the face. It wasn't a hard kick, but it was definitely, some people are calling it a sucker punch or sucker kick. That'll be one of the discussion points later on tonight. Also up on fight results, we had one championship, Kingdom of Heroes. It was an atomweight fight, or a 1 atomweight fight, because they have different weight classes. Rika Ishige from Thailand defeated Bozena Antoniar from, where's she from? Myanmar, or formerly known as Burma, by KO TKO, ground and pound, round 2 minutes 48 seconds, round 1 of 3. I haven't gotten to catch up on that fight yet. So Ishige climbs to 4-2, and Bozena Antoniar fell to 1-1. Someone who was already had 5 fights really shouldn't be fighting someone who had only had 1 fight, in my opinion. Other than that, I can't really comment on the fight. I haven't seen it. There was a women's kickboxing fight 2 on that card. That was an absolute just shit show. Pardon my French, but that was a shit show. And not good. Not good to watch. Let's see. So then we'll move over to, we'll still stay with, the indies and the small ones. EFC, Extreme Fighting Championship 74 in Johannesburg, South Africa. This was at strawweight. For some reason I was thinking this was a flyweight fight. It was strawweight. Cheyenne Vlismas defeats Karolina Wojcik, or I think it might be Wojcik. I don't know. It's Polish. It's Polish, guys. It's Polish. Vlismas defeated Karolina W via 3-round decision. I think it might have been a split, but apparently this fight's over on Fight TV, where you can watch it. I'm gonna watch it probably after I'm done here and try to do a quick review on it. From what I've seen and just a little bit of clicks, it was a pretty good fight, and there was definitely some heated talk in the weigh-ins leading up to that fight. Then moving along to UFC 229 pay-per-view. Let's see, first ladies fight was Yana Kunitskaya defeated Lena Landsberg by unanimous decision in the bantamweight division. Not the most exciting fight, but I thought this would be more of a stand-up fight, and I thought it would be more evenly matched. I thought it would stay on the outside, but I guess Landsberg needed to get on the inside. But every time they got to the clinch, it was Yana controlling the clinch or taking Landsberg down and just being way better on the ground. Kunitskaya, she originally was known as a striker, and now here she is, and she's become, very competent grappler too. Not the most exciting fight, but it was interesting to watch, and it was nice to see Kunitskaya get a win in her first fight after, being sacrificed to Chris Cyborg. Next fight was also in the bantamweight division. We had Aspen Ladd defeated Tonya Evinger by KO TKO ground and pound, 3 minutes 26 seconds. Excuse me, of round number 1. Now, this fight was pretty much a drubbing. Evinger shot for a takedown. It was late. It looked kind of lazy, and Ladd just tore her up from there. Ladd controlled her, and then Ladd just laid the beat down on Evinger. I mean, it was some serious ground and pound. And then she started, Ladd likes to start shouting when she's doing ground and pound. And I don't know if she thinks it's going to get a quicker, stoppage from the ref. Maybe that's a tactic. I don't know what it is. It wasn't really needed. It was just kind of, I'm probably going to catch some flack for this, but I thought it looked kind of silly when she does it, especially when it's obvious that it's about to get stopped anyway. Anyway, congrats to Aspen Ladd. Now here's the big question. If you watch the official weigh-ins, not the ceremonial, the official weigh-ins, Ladd looked like she was ready to pass out on the scale. So Ladd obviously has serious weight issues. Now I don't know if it's actual weight issues or if it's more a discipline issue. I think it's more of the latter. I think it's a discipline issue. I think she gets too heavy between camps, and then she tries to stay as heavy as possible and then just try to cut as much water weight as she can to try to keep as much weight on. Just conjecture on my part. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I think if she keeps doing that, she's going to miss weight again, and eventually we'll see Ladd in the all but non-existent UFC featherweight division where they're just going to throw it to Cyborg, probably. Kind of sucked seeing Evinger get beat down like that. I'm not always the biggest fan of her. I was pulling for her in this fight. So that was, yeah, so then I went 1-1 in my pick so far. Which brings us to the last fight of the evening, which I was super hyped for this one. Strawweight fight, Michelle Waterson versus Felice Herrig. Michelle won by 3-round unanimous decision. Michelle was able to keep Herrig at bay with her kicks. She kept throwing this lead leg side kicks or high kicks. I had it 29-28 Herrig at the end of the fight. One judge had it that way. One fight had it 30-27. Or no, I'm sorry. I had it 29-28 Waterson. I figured Waterson was going to get the win. One judge had it 29-28 Waterson. One judge had it 30-27 Waterson, which I did not agree with. And then one judge had it 30-26 Waterson, which I definitely don't think that round number 2, which was the only round you could possibly think of as a 10-8, I don't agree that it was an actual 10-8 round. I mean, she definitely won the round. I don't know if she was dominant enough to justify a 10-8 round. Round 1, I thought, went to Felice. Round 2 was all Waterson. Round 3, Herrig was looking visibly tired, probably after after being on bottom all of the first round. So Herrig looked visibly tired. She had no pop in her punches. Waterson did more of the same that she kept doing. When Herrig did get Waterson to the ground and she was on top, she didn't do anything with it. She hardly threw any punches, any strikes to get GMP. Waterson was winning from the bottom, just throwing punches and elbows up at Felice. It was, honestly, I'm a big fan of both of these two, but I was really disappointed with Felice in this fight. I don't know if it was just a brain fart. I don't know what happened. Congrats to Michelle. Well-earned win. And so I guess I'll just leave it at that. A little disappointed with Herrick's performance, but Michelle definitely won. I thought it was 29. Yeah, how would that go? Yeah, 29-28. 29-28 Waterson was my personal score. I don't know what the judge that had scored at 30-26 was thinking. So, moving on to upcoming fights for this week. We have, in a few hours from now, One Warrior Series ran by One Warrior Championship. Now, this is going to be a fight card that's based on, they have like a YouTube series. Maybe it's aired overseas from the U.S. I don't know, on TV. It's called One Warrior Series. And it's hosted by Rich Franklin and the guy that is the producer of it, I guess. It is basically, I would call it, a mix of Dana White's looking for a fight with a mix of, like, the final, at the end of the season, they have the night where everyone that was picked up from the travels fights, and I would say it was, looking for a fight mixed with a final episode that is more of a Tuesday Night Contender series. So it's actually a pretty good show. Very predictable format. If you've seen one episode, you can pretty much predict how each episode's going to go. But that doesn't make it any less good. A lot of feel-good stuff in it. One championship. They're all based in these mostly, third world, Southeast Asian countries. Other than like Singapore, which is super rich. So a lot of feel-good stories about these fighters coming from nothing and all this. Anyway, 3 women's fights. I think last time they only had 1 or 2. One atomweight. We have So-Yul Kim, 1-1 from South Korea, versus, and I'm going to murder this name, I'm sorry, Bayarma Munkgerel, 1-3 from Mongolia. I haven't been keeping up with the series like I was the first season, or I started watching the second season. I quit keeping up with it, so I don't know about any of these fighters. Anyway, so that's at 105. It's 3 rounds. Next women's fight, we have Adila Johani from Malaysia, 1-1, versus Uyan Ha, making her pro debut. I did see her on the series, and I didn't pick her up last time. And she is out of Australia. She's fighting out of Australia, according to Tapology. And she's making her pro debut. Now that fight is also going to be at one atom weight division, which is really a straw weight if you've never watched one championship. And then the last but not least, women's fights. We have, according to Tapology, this is the co-main event. Jenilyn Olsen, 2-1 from the Philippines, versus Claudia Diaz, making her pro debut, according to this. And she is fighting out of, I believe that's Spain. That is Spain, yep. Born in Spain, fighting out of Thailand, which is probably where they picked her up at. So that's it for One Championship, One Warrior Series 3. Guys, we have two, not one, but two Bellator cards this weekend. One on Friday and one on Saturday night. The Friday night card on the 12th, there's several women's fights on this one. Now, as far as I know, the only one that is guaranteed to be aired live on the stream is going to be Kavanaugh versus Harding. But we'll start lower on the card. They're all either going to be prelims or post-lims. Flyweight, we have Christy Lopez, 2-0-1 from the U.S. versus Sarah Click, 1-2 also from the U.S. I've seen Lopez fight before. Neat fighter to watch. Very charismatic. Pretty. Flyweight is Bellator's, pretty girls division. So make of that what you will. 2-0-1 versus 1-2. The next fight, also at flyweight, is Alexandra Ballot. According to this, she's making her debut, fighting Lisa. What is her nickname? Lisa Insane Blaine. 2-2. Both fighters out of the U.S. Don't know either of them. Sorry. And then the final women's fight, and this one is apparently going to stream, is in the featherweight division. We have Sinead Kavanaugh, 5-2, coming in and facing Janae Harding, 3-3. Now, where is Janae Harding familiar from? Janae Harding's from Australia, and Kavanaugh's from Ireland. Where is Harding familiar from? She lost to Amber Lightrock last time out in Bellator. She also has a loss to Arlene Blencoe and Jessica Rose Clark. So all of her so she has 3 wins. Best wins probably going to be Ramona Pasquale, and also 3 losses, but all of them are to name fighters. So not too bad there. And then on Saturday, there is, looks like only one women's fight, and that's going to be at, according to Tapology, it's a strawweight, which I think is going to be the only strawweight, since Scott Coker took over, it's going to be the only strawweight fight other than Kerry Melendez's 2 MMA fights. Jennifer Chiang, looking to make her pro debut, versus Jessica Ruiz, also making her pro debut, according to Tapology. Let's see what any of these have. According to Tapology, Jessica Chiang doesn't even have a amateur record, whereas Jessica Ruiz has at least 3 fights in amateur. Yep, 3 fights, 2-1 in amateur, coming off a loss in her last amateur fight. And then also on Saturday, a rare, I think the only ever Saturday night card from Combate Americas, Combate 24, Mexico versus USA. According to Tapology, it is the co-main event. We have Amanda Serrano returning to the cage, the known boxer, coming in at 0-1. She drew in her only MMA fight so far. She is taking on, help me with this name, E-R-E, Air, is it Air? Airy? Ordonez from Mexico. So if anyone knows how to pronounce that name, please let me know. Ordonez is coming in at 2-1, so definitely some MMA experience for Serrano's opponent. But looking forward to this card. I believe according to the poster, it is streaming on DAZN, the same streaming service that Bellator also streams all of their live events on now. So that's it for the upcoming fights that I have. So we'll move on to, I'm not going to make this, cast too long. No one's viewing it right now. Hopefully more people will watch the replay. I was hoping to get some more viewers, but I think a lot of them, potential viewers, are still watching the MMA holes. So, earlier in the day, I posted a video about Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Valentina Shevchenko. That fight is back on for UFC 231 on Saturday, December 8th in Toronto. So this fight was originally scheduled, and then they wanted the fighters to move it up. And I guess Valentina said yes. Joanna said, I didn't want to move it up. So what did the UFC do? They brought in Shevchenko Eubanks and signed Shevchenko Eubanks to fight Shevchenko at UFC 230 next month in Madison Square Garden. And that was going to be the main event. Well, a lot of fans just flipped out. And they were like, a lot of fans did not agree with that fight. Okay? I'm one of them. I didn't agree with it. I understood the UFC's reasoning for it, but I didn't agree with their reasoning. I understood their reasoning. I didn't agree with it. I didn't, throw a bitch fit or anything, but I definitely understood. If you ever seen that old Chris Rock thing, I don't agree, but I understand. Anybody know that? Anyway, so I didn't agree with it, but I understood. So it was going to be Shevchenko Eubanks versus Valentina Shevchenko. Well, and then so yesterday they announced that DC versus Black Beast is going to headline 230 instead. Short notice fight for both of them. Very exciting fight, and that Shevchenko versus Jędrzejczyk, is back on for UFC 231 at its original headlining spot. Well, Shevchenko Eubanks was livid. She's been flipping out on Twitter. She's been lashing out at fans. She lashed out at Dana White. She lashed out at the UFC matchmaker Mick Maynard. Very upset, very emotional about it, and letting it all out. And you know what? I understand her too. I understood when when Joanna was very upset last week, and she had every right to be. And you know what? Shevchenko Eubanks also has the right to be upset, because now she had signed a bout agreement, and the UFC scrapped it. It was going to be her first time main eventing. She was going to fight for a title, and UFC, on a whim, just said, you know what, we're not going to do it now, because I don't know. I don't know if it was because they managed to get the heavyweight championship bout up, or if it was because due to fan backlash. Either way, at first they screwed over Joanna, then they made it up to her, now they're screwing over Shevchenko. Anyway, Shevchenko versus Jędrzejczyk is back on for 231 in Toronto, December 8th. November 3rd, UFC 230. Shevchenko Eubanks is now scheduled to, UFC 230, November 3rd, at Madison Square Garden. Shevchenko Eubanks is now scheduled to face Roxanne Modafferi. Now, this is a rematch of a fight they had in The Ultimate Fighter last year. What was it, 26, 27? The flyweight thing. It was a semifinal fight in the Ultimate Fighter house. Eubanks won by unanimous decision. It's not necessarily a bad fight to run back. My big thing that I took away from the first fight was that you had someone who is not very strong, but is very technical in Ferry, versus someone who is technical enough, but very strong and big and strong enough to overcome the more technical fighter in Shevchenko Eubanks. And that's how basically what that fight was down to, was that Eubanks pretty much overpowered Ferry to get that win. So, not a bad fight. Hopefully, Ferry comes in with a different game plan maybe, or, maybe coming from her own fight camp, it'll help her a little bit better against Eubanks. Who knows, though, because Eubanks is going to be coming in ticked. She's going to come in ready to show that she's got what it takes to fight for that title, because she had that title shot in her hands. She had her name on the line, on the dotted line, and then the UFC just snatched it out of her hands. So, Eubanks might just come in ready to knock Ferry out. And Ferry's been knocked out before, at least twice, both those times by slams. So we'll see what goes on as far as that. So the next thing I wanted to discuss was the so-called sucker punch or sucker kick by Caitlin Katniss Neal versus Candice Miracle at FCF, was it 56 on, was that Friday? On Friday night. Apparently this was on Fight TV, so I'm going to have to go watch this fight. But I did watch a clip of what happened, and Caitlin Neal did a Facebook Live where she basically explained, like, I was told to start the fight. The girl was still, leaning against the cage, face turned away, trying to still talk to her corner after the ref said to start the fight. So as far as she was concerned, the fight was on, whether or not Miracle was paying attention or not. Excuse me. She did wait until Miracle had started to turn around before throwing the kick. Now, some people are saying it's a sucker punch, sucker kick, however you want to call it. Some people are saying it's not. It's up to you. Go watch the fight again if you haven't. I'm going to watch the whole fight. Definitely watch the clip at least. And then watch the clip of her Facebook Live. That is available on ReactQ's page. It's either ReactQ or ReactQ2 on YouTube. I gave him a shout earlier. He's another shout out, ReactQ. I think she explained her situation. I think Caitlin Neal explained the situation well enough to justify it. That's my opinion. Watching the clip and then her talk about it on Facebook Live. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on this one, because if the ref says fight, you have to fight. There are other times where, maybe a fighter got poked in the eye and was trying to tell the ref, like, I got poked in the eye, and the ref was telling him, fight on, fight on. Maybe I didn't necessarily agree with that stuff, but if the rules state that the ref is the only one that can call a timeout, and if the ref says to fight, then you fight, then that's what you have to go with. You got to go with, you got to obey the referee's commands. So, Caitlin Neal, from what I understand, got the decision win. And really, I don't have that much else to say about it. Congrats to Caitlin Neal. I'm going to have to go watch the other fights to see what went on as far as the results on that card. So, guys, I'm about done. Didn't get too many views again this time. But, if you're going to watch this on the replay, let me know in the comments below what you thought about the fights from this past weekend. If you have anything info about upcoming fights, from Thursday through Saturday. let me know in the comments below. As far as the Shevchenko, Jędrzejczyk, Eubanks, fight triangle. It's not even a love triangle. It's a fight triangle. Let me know what you thought about that. I think the UFC needs to get their shit together. Personally, I think the UFC needs to get their shit together. Needs to freaking get some main events scheduled enough ahead of time, especially for Madison Square Garden, where you go there one time a year and you're trying to sell it as your big events every year. You need to freaking book that main event ahead of time, and you need to have a solid co-main event to also cover for that. Also, UFC needs to quit trying to shoehorn a freaking title fight onto every pay-per-view. It's resulting in too many interim championships, and then apparently they're saying Jones versus Gustafsson might be for light heavyweight championship. DC just won a heavyweight championship, and now he's going to defend it. They didn't even give him a chance to defend the light heavyweight championship again. What's the point of having these double champs if you're not going to let them defend both belts? Stop doing the double champ, the champ fights then. Okay? All of that connects into the Shevchenko, Jędrzejczyk, Eubanks debacle. Because first Jędrzejczyk was getting screwed over. Now Eubanks is getting screwed over. So Jędrzejczyk, I'm sure, is happy enough. Shevchenko, whatever. She's the constant in the title picture in that division. So she's going to get the fight for that title no matter what it seems like. The UFC seems very intent on pushing her to be the champion, and maybe they're trying to make her the star of that division. I don't necessarily agree that she has star power. We'll see after UFC 231. See how many buys that gets, if she has any. And then, of course, let me know what you thought about the Neil Miracle, kick from behind thing. All of that, put all that in the comments below. Guys, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. They're always appreciated. They're always helpful. Somebody's been going on all my videos and giving at least one thumbs down. And I'm pretty sure it's all the same guy. I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure. And if it is all one guy, I'm pretty sure I know who it is too. He's a dick. F him. His channel sucks. And if you're just happen to be watching this, you happen to catch this, and you're not subscribed, subscribe to WMMA Now, the best and fastest growing all women's mixed martial arts platform on YouTube. Guys, good night. Oh, what am I doing?